because every kid should have proper nutrition to be able to go through the school day and to be able to function properly and to do the best that they can in the classroom.
Well, and I feel these programs are there for people to use in these times of crisis, in these times of need, and not that it's something that they maybe, it doesn't even sound, they don't want to be on this forever. They're moving in, she's getting her career, she's getting her training to
Yes.
get a good job, good
Mhm.
paying job to help support her family, her husband likewise.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but again, I think all of us listening have to realize how limited that is.
Very limited.
Certainly for a family this size.
There are certain agencies that I'm sure not everybody knows about. So, I mean, the public has
That's
to be
right.
better
They don't
educated.
even know where to turn.
Exactly. And if you don't have somebody who's connected to those services in terms of being able to push you in the right direction, then you're not gonna really
And
know.
agencies have been getting inundated because of the economic situation that has thrown so many people into, dire financial straits.
Absolutely, and that's where we come into play, because I mean, even though a lot of people, I'm sure like a lot of people listening, maybe we have challenges economically and we're struggling just to try to keep everything together, but we still have enough that maybe we can, adopt a child for Christmas, or, give to the United Way, or just do whatever to try to help those agencies, last as long as possible, because they're so needed.
So with these children, because we talk about children, Christmases for children.
It is.
What are these children even going to get this year? Can they
I-
expect anything, or
I-
are they just happy to have a
I
hot
think
meal?
they're happy to have a hot meal at this
Oh.
particular time.
And that's something good for the kids who are going to be inundated with gifts under the tree.
Exactly, because you
Need to
have
remember and
friends.
think about.
You have friends who are like, well, we're getting another Wii, or we're getting a Blu-ray player, and they're
We're
just
getting a
like,
new iPhone.
Exactly, and they're just like, we don't even know where we're going to be living in the next couple of weeks.
Exactly, right. Wow, Danielle, this is quite a heartwarming story. I'm so glad you got to give this to such a needy family.
Absolutely, and they are so grateful, and I want to say, Jacqueline, hello to you and your family. I love you. Merry Christmas, because I know they're going to be listening online, and I told them about this, and they're just really appreciative of everything that you wanted to do.
Well, and I just get a good feeling hearing this story, yours especially, because I think, again, you chose so wisely, you listened to your heart, and that's what you went with. And that's what we all need to do this season. It's a season of giving. So thank you so much, Danielle, for doing this.
Thank you.
And thanks to all of you again for listening. You're listening to Joan with the Joan Yurkovich Show, and you'll want to be sure and catch the video outtakes, podcasts, and links to iTunes and my blogs on joanyurkovich.com. If you happen to maybe be out of the listening area, you can always watch the videos and listen online at joanyurkovich.com, and we'll be right back on 910 KINA Salina. Very nice. Just gave me chills.
You do so well. You do. Why?
Welcome back, listeners. This is Joan with the Joan Yurkovich Show on 910 KINA. We're wrapping up our conversation with our Secret Santas, where we're here with our fourth and last Secret Santa who went out from the station, KINA station here, with the $50 from the Joan Yurkovich Show. We're here with Mike Farmer. Welcome, Mike.
Thank you. It's really nice to be here.
And I've talked about in the earlier segments that, people were given about 7 to 10 days to do this, but you kind of went right out there and did it.
I was sort of anxious. I was giving it a lot of thought because it was kind of interesting. I've never had an opportunity to do something like this, and my personality is one that if I can help somebody out, I'm just going to jump all over it. I just love doing things like that, and so when you gave me the $50, I had about a 2-hour trip, and during that entire time that I was going to the place I was going and then coming back to Salina, I was thinking of how am I going to do this, because in my job, sometimes it's not as rewarding as I'd like it to be. It is sometimes, and it's just like
And tell us
everybody
what
else's
your
job.
job is here
Well,
at the
I'm a
station.
sales representative for the radio station, and in many cases, people simply just don't like seeing me come in their door.
Yeah.
So that's
It's
just
a sales agent.
Yeah,
I
I
know.
am,
We've
you know,
all,
I
we've all
mean,
had that when
I-
somebody rings our doorbell at home and
Well, you
they're
know,
interrupting or the calls come in.
and I have great relationships with most of the people that I work with, but the bottom line is that, I sell air. I mean, they can't automatically see the results of it,
And it's
even though.
such important air.
Well, it is, and
Let's don't turn off our
absolutely,
absolutely
please
advertisers.
don't. No. And it is fun. I've been doing it for a long time, but this was just an occasion where it was something nice and wonderful, and I also was thinking at the same time, what kind of a reaction am I going to get?
Mhm.
Because you know, there's a lot of people out there that are very frightened by anything out of the norm, and they just don't quite know how to handle it, and they're very cautious about what they take from people, just because of the way society has become. And so I thought, gee, I really want to do this in a way that someone is going to react with a very positive response, but I don't want someone saying, what's the catch?
Well, Jerry Henriquez, who was in the first segment here, said that very thing. You know, that's exactly what the young couple that he gave it to, the dad was like, okay, very suspicious.
Mhm.
What's the catch?
Yeah, and I feel like I can read people pretty well, and so when it got to that point, which, as I said, I was anxious to do it. When it got to that point to give it away, I thought an awful lot about where I was going to go, how I was going to set it up, and dealing with people as long as I have, I felt pretty secure that I'd find someone that I would really appreciate it, and that's pretty much exactly what happened. I went to a location that I felt was pretty good for what I wanted as far as results, and I actually went to the store manager. I went into a business, and I told the manager what I was going to do in case this didn't work and there was some kind of a ruckus of people, you know, or somebody that
They
said,
had you on video.
yeah, you know, and I thought,
Passing
geez,
bills.
I don't, you know, I don't want to get in trouble with the owner of the business. So I told them first, and they said, this is a wonderful idea, go for it.
Well, great. So they had a positive
Oh,
reaction
absolutely.
very much.
That was
Were they
really
kind of then
cool.
tracking you and kind of wanting to kind of
You know, no,
watch you a little
no,
bit?
no,
or
there was no concern at all.
just for the, not a concern, but just excitement.
Well,
to
no,
get to
you
see
know,
it.
the owner didn't seem too pumped up about it, but she thought it was a good idea. So,
Sure, okay.
anyway,
Go to another business
yeah,
next year.
yeah, exactly. That's what I'm going to do. But it was one of those things where I walked around I thought that it, you know, just happened instantly, that I'd find somebody out there, ooh, that's perfect. Didn't happen that way. I walked around for about 20 minutes, just checking people out, and it was kind of an interesting experience too, because I don't know if you've noticed it when you go into places, but I come from a very small town, so I don't get people that give me a lot of eye contact when you go into a store, or a smile, or how are you, you know, and I thought maybe that would happen.
We're in a
And-
big city, they don't
Yeah.
here.
And I thought, well, once that happens, that sounds like somebody that, you know, I maybe would like to give that money, and it didn't happen. So I'm walking around for about 20 or 25 minutes saying,
But this $50 burning a hole in your
well,
pocket.
it was. And I thought, geez, I don't know, this isn't as working as good as I thought it was going to. And so I found a lady who's just slightly older than I am. I'm not a young guy, by the way. And she was sitting in a chair and looked somewhat solemn and thoughtful. And there just happened to be in this particular store a chair right beside her. And so I just sat down. I said, how you doing? Oh, she said, I'm doing okay. And I said, well, I told her my name, and I told her that I was the Secret Santa. And I says, I've got something for you. And I handed her the $50 bill. And there was just a slight hesitation. It wasn't really for a long period of time, and she kind of looked at me, and she didn't just automatically, you know, put her hand out and take it. And I thought, oh, what did I get myself into, and how am I going to really make this happen?
Well, that's that suspicion you were talking
Yeah,
about.
but it didn't, you know, it didn't last very long, and so she took the bill, and I thought, oh, thank you, and then I just waited for the reaction, because, you know, you can't say, well, what do you think? You know,
Yeah,
isn't this nice of me?
Let it sink in a little bit.
Hey, nice
She's-
guy. So,
Or she could be looking at you thinking you're not so nice.
yeah.
What are you paying me for?
Yeah, what are you paying me for? And so, exactly. So anyway, she started to open up, told me who she was and where she lived, and then she really gave me kind of a really neat story. She said her husband had suffered from polio for, years and years and years, and had just passed away that summer. And so things were a little tough, and she says, finally she opened up and says, this is just wonderful. I really appreciate this, and thank you so much. And it just gave me a great feeling, because it put a little trust in my own feelings about me as far as finding people and knowing people well enough to know the ones that, maybe are having a hard time. And, there's a lot of them out there, but you never know for sure what their situation was. So I just got a great feeling out of it, and it's probably one of the best things. My life's not exactly full of great things, so when I did that, I felt really tremendous about it. It was just a really great
That's
feeling.
such a great story that you tell, because you're telling it so much from the perspective of the giver
Yeah,
and not the receiver.
yeah,
Because we always think about, the giver, the receiver, the one who got the $50, certainly she was appreciative, and she obviously had her own personal story. She'd lost her husband fairly recently. We know how difficult that is.
Yeah.
The holidays, the first holidays after you've lost a spouse,
Yeah.
and I would guess they've been married many years. Did
Yeah.
she tell you how many years?
No, she didn't, but it had been a long time, and you could see it in her eyes and just the way she, reacted to the whole thing, that this might not be the best holiday she ever had, but at least that put a bright spot in her life
her
for
day,
a moment.
and in your day.
Well, and I thought, I got the feeling too that it was one of those stories that would continue to flow to friends and family members, that she says, you
Absolutely.
won't believe what happened to me, because, that's just not something that happens to everybody every day, so.
Did you happen to notice if anybody standing around was kind of witnessing this a little bit, or was it a private moment?
It was pretty, I wanted it to be private, and there weren't a lot of people in the store, and like I said, she was sitting there, I was sitting there, and I just made eye contact with her. I really, truthfully, didn't pay much attention to anyone around us. So if there was somebody listening or watching, I couldn't have told you, because I was really kind of centered on her and her feelings and her thoughts, and it was just a lot of fun. It really was.
Is this going to
Maybe-
stay with you for a while?
Oh,
Is this
absolutely.
memory going to stay with you?
Well, the thing is, I find myself telling people about it, because
You do?
oh, absolutely, because it was such a great experience for me, and so I catch myself telling family members and friends about the reaction and how I felt and how she felt about it. And it didn't last for a long period of time. I'll bet I wasn't with her more than 5 minutes. You get the feeling they really like it, but what do you say? I mean, you can just say so much, and I was happy that she did share a little bit of her life story with me, but people today, I think, are more private than they've ever been, because of this social networking and the fact that everybody seems to be doing something for themselves. And I just love the idea of being able to share something with someone else and getting that spontaneous response to somebody that I didn't know, because I've never had a chance to do this before. Because you go up to the Salvation Army and you put, and there, I've noticed this year in that particular situation too, that the bell ringers seem to be more appreciative and happy, and I don't know, it might be just me, but it's kind of fun. They're always wishing
It's a really
everyone-
needy time.
Yeah,
It's
and
such
they're-
a needy time for so many people.
and a lot of people are
So they do appreciate
giving.
those donations.
Yeah, and so
And they're giving what they can.
yes, they are.
But I
So,
think this is just such a heartwarming, story, Mike. Thank you so much for doing this, and so much for coming on to tell us about it.
you're welcome. It was a good experience,
Great.
and thank you for
Oh.
making it happen.